Hello, 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 hello. Come on in and give it a few minutes for some folks to come into the room. Had a little trouble with IG connecting, so give me a second. Let's give a few folks a few minutes to get in the room. Welcome to Tax Talk Tuesday with Tawana of Bryant Business Solutions. Hey, Jasmine. Hey, hey. Come on in, Facebook, YouTubers, and IG over here on the other side. Hey, hey. I missed last week. I got a little busy, and so I had to prioritize. And if you see me looking from side to side, I have multiple devices going with going live. So bear with me. And then I also have some notes as well of things so that I don't miss anything. I just don't want to, I want to make sure I give you guys the juice and the updates and everything. And let's talk. Let's talk. What's been going on? I hope everyone has had a wonderful week. Of course, if anyone, I don't think I put it on my other page, but this pollen has been crazy. And as in my adulthood, I have developed some allergy issues, some very bad allergy issues. So that pollen takes me out. I don't know about anyone else, but that pollen tries to take me completely out. So I hope you guys have been having a good week thus far. I have been having a good week despite the pollen. So yeah, so let's talk. Let's talk. If you got something that you want to talk about, a question that you need to ask, by all means, drop it in the chat. So for those of you that don't know me, I do have quite a few new followers on IG especially, but Facebook and IG. I am Tawana with Bryant Business Solutions. I am the transparent accountant. In that, I believe in total transparency when it comes to my relationship with my clients, the work that I do for you, explaining and breaking down everything regarding your financial and your tax situation and your accounting situation, being completely honest and integral as I help you navigate through your financial situation. Now, one thing about me, of course, I'm not going to fudge any numbers. I don't do the funny numbers. I'm too cute for jail. I always tell you that. So by all means, if you feel the need to work with me or you have questions regarding my services, take a moment. You can either hop on I think it's in my bio. My link is in my bio, and then you can navigate, DM, email. There's many ways to contact me. But the email works best because I do have a team that actually will help in answering those questions for you. So they can get to you a lot quicker sometimes than I can. So I believe in customer service. I believe in education and empowerment. So I want you to be educated on your financial situation. Don't ever feel as though you should be talking to a professional that does not have the patience or the time to help you understand or navigate through your situation. With that being said, I am super excited to be partnering with Irene from Credit Queen Irene on IG. She has come up with an effort to give back to the community, working with the shelters to help the homeless and those who don't have access to their stimulus payments, helping them get access to those payments. So we will be doing, myself with Irene, along with 20 other tax professionals across the state. And my plan is to partner with my sis up there in Charlotte, since she's close, when she sets her dates, to partner up with her and go and hit the streets with her as well. Hopefully our schedules will allow that. So I'm super excited about that. In South Carolina, I plan to reach out for South Carolina, Charleston, Columbia. I'm looking at Rock Hill because when you go into that Charlotte area, that's right there by Rock Hill. So why not double dip? Um, and Myrtle Beach is one that's close, as well as Greenville. So I'm going to be looking at dates. We're going to be working throughout the summer to make sure that we help those who are less fortunate, who are unable to get access or wouldn't typically ordinarily have debit cards or bank accounts or things of that nature, so that they can get their funds. How great would it be that if the one thing that's keeping them from having their deposit or for their new apartment or their new place, the one thing that keeps them warm for a little while longer would be from us helping them access their stimulus funds. So I'm excited about those efforts that we have, as well as if there are any tax professionals that join in on this line. If you do not see your state listed, there's several of us, like I said, there's 20 of us, 20, around 22. But if you don't see your state listed, connect with Irene so we can get you added to this cause. I think it's going to be a phenomenal, like this thing is going to be bigger than we're expecting, but connect with Irene or reach out to one of us and we will get you in the loop of how to navigate through this process to be able to help in every state. I know the West Coast, I didn't see a lot of activity over there. So the West Coast, if you're listening in and you are a tax professional and you offer bank products, then reach out, let us know. And there may be some that's on the East Coast or the Midwest that's willing to travel out to help you with that. All right, so I have said a mouthful with me talking about the stimulus payments. So the stimulus payments were actually delayed for Social Security beneficiaries, and their payments are going to start being sent out this weekend. So with that being said, there's still a lot of people that have not seen their stimulus payments. Again, like we had discussed before, I remember when we stimulus one, stimulus two, they're going to be sending debit cards too now. So be checking your mail. Check your mail to make sure you haven't thrown your stimulus payment in the trash. Let's see. I think I disconnected somewhere here on one moment, guys. But yeah, make sure you haven't thrown that debit card in the trash because they will be sending that out also over the weekend. If you have recently moved, it's possible that your stimulus payment was sent out and you kind of missed out on it because you moved and it was sent to the wrong address, possibly sent back. If you change bank accounts, they may have, of course, sent it back to the IRS. But you can always check the stimulus payment tool on irs.gov to check the status of your stimulus payment. Just because it says it was mailed or deposited on the date is not, we're learning, that does not always necessarily mean that that's what happened. However, that'll give you a good gauge and a good idea of when or if your stimulus payment has been mailed or if it's, gone out. So with that being said, hopefully we all get our stimulus. And can you guys believe that they're talking about even another stimulus payment? Like, we don't need anything to jack the system up anymore. There's still a log jam. There's still people who have not gotten their tax refunds from last year. Then we have people who are hooked up in the system this year as a result of that log jam from last year. Because when the stimulus payments, this last round of stimulus payments went out, it actually jammed the system even more, as if that made sense. But, the logistics to me just wasn't worked out to the best way possible. So right, okay. But the logistics of like those first sets of stimulus, they just weren't worked out, and to kind of, I get it, people needed their money. However, there's people who got refunds that needed their money also. So again, give us grace as we give you grace in helping you navigate through the process. With that being said, though, I wanted to discuss my processes here at Bryant Business Solutions. One thing that I am, in fact, going to cut out after this year, and possibly after this first run of the season ends. We know tax deadline has been extended to May 17th. But after that, if you are a business owner, you should be keeping your books in some shape, form, or fashion. It is not our job to navigate through all of that, because if we do begin to do that, guess what? Now you're entering into bookkeeping services and you will be charged accordingly. Um, I know, a lot of these fees are not the cheapest sometimes. However, the thing is, I think what's missed in the process, there's a lot of professionals like myself. We're not in chain shops. We're more of the small business owners, and about the tax shop. Okay. um, but we don't just plug numbers. We are not data entry operators. We're putting in work to make sure that, of course, you're compliant. But compliance work entails a little bit more. However, it's not as extensive as tax planning. And tax planning is a whole nother animal as well. I just want to make sure when you come to Bryant Business Solutions, you got your numbers in place, and they're not numbers that popped into your head. You did not create this income, profit, and loss statement off the cuff that has nothing that reflects any of your receipts or any of your spreadsheets that you send over. If you're sending over documentation, there should be a balance. Like, we should be able to balance that, especially if you're a partnership, corporation, any of the corporations, S Corp, C Corp. Your books should balance. We have a balance sheet within the tax program that we have to balance back to your books. We can't do that if you're not keeping your books. However, we do, there's a lot of us that do offer bookkeeping services. There are tax professionals that are connected with people who offer bookkeeping services that they can also refer you to a phenomenal bookkeeper, or someone who does, more extensive accounting work outside of the set tax preparation. So know that is actually, we're going to start turning people around, or rejecting files, because it's this year, for whatever reason, I don't know. It seems as though, in my opinion, we had a lot of time on our hands, so we could have been doing our books. But that just wasn't happening. I don't know if we don't understand the need for it. A lot of people found out when it was time for PPP funds to be distributed, you needed those things. So let's go ahead and handle our business, okay? If we want a business, we want to say we got a business, let's run our business like a business, okay? It is a business. And let's act accordingly. All right, so prepare for fraud cases. Like I told you guys, I don't do the funny numbers, and I mean that. If I feel as though there's even a lack of integrity on behalf of my client, and I am not comfortable completely with that, and I feel like you're just fudging numbers to put numbers, and we have the right to ask you for that documentation to back up those numbers that you give us. I know for my organization, we use a tax organizer, and you're able to provide me with the totals. But if I'm asking for certain documents to substantiate what you have on those numbers, then that's what it is. And I have the right to decline offering you services as a result, because I am not going to jail for nobody, number one. And number two, they are cracking down on tax fraud. I said it from the beginning. Fraud, tax audits are going to increase by 50%. They're giving away all this money. It has to get recouped somehow. So what better way than to start hitting people with fraud and fines? And it is what it is, okay? And a lot of times we say, oh, the taxpayer is committing tax fraud, or whatever. There's a lot of preparers out here committing fraud. There was one in Fort Lauderdale, Florida, that was recently arrested. And she had a business for several years. Fraud allegations just brought it all crashing down on her head, and she was arrested for that tax fraud. If she's convicted, she had a co-conspirator, as well. And if she's convicted, she's going to face a maximum 5-year sentence on conspiracy charges, 3 years in prison for each time they prepared a false return. So imagine how many returns are going through some of these tax offices. And we're complaining about paying someone who wants to do our taxes right. We can't do that. If typically, a lot of times you're going to see higher in a middle to higher end fees from those professionals who's really getting in there and doing the work. And not to say someone who charges less automatically is committing fraud. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is don't complain about the higher prices, because that, I mean, we're doing work. Let's not just let me plug these numbers that's on this W-2 and make it work. We're doing a lot of training, especially with all these tax law changes that's happening. But Alexis is also facing a 3-year max sentence for the false claims made on his own personal taxes. So, of course, if he's fraudulently preparing taxes for his clients, why not get a little bit of the pot himself? I say it over and over again. Do not think that you're not being watched. They will sit and watch you commit fraud for years before they convict you or before they even bring it to the table. Over 80% of people who are audited or they're looked, I'm not going to say audited. Once they start coming after you, they've got their evidence. About more, like I said, more than 80%, they're going to get a conviction on that. They're not going to just come to your door for nothing. They've been watching you, and there's another case in Visalia, California. Let's see, Oregon. Esther Oregon was the name of Mex Tax Services. The state seeking to bar her from owning and operating any tax preparation business due to her underreporting her clients' tax liabilities. She's being charged with inflated and false tax credits, itemized deductions, and income and business expense deductions. You are responsible, though. If you sign that tax return, that makes you liable because your sign is saying that information is true. Read and review your tax return. In my company, we have a mandatory document review process that we go over the return with the client. If you know you didn't have a business and a business is on there, you might want to go somewhere else and pull your information. If you have education credits on there, if you have inflated sales or expenses, if you have something that does not look right, no, you don't have to be the mastermind of tax preparation or accounting for that matter. But if something doesn't look right, typically it isn't right. Okay. So she's also, like I said, facing time and facing she caused the IRS to lose an excess of $6.9 million. Wow. We got cases in Rock Springs, Wyoming, East Michigan, Eastern Mississippi. So all in all, what I'm saying is they're giving away enough money. You don't have to falsify anything. Okay. You don't have to falsify anything on your tax return. If it's meant for you to have it, you'll have it. If you need to work a little harder, work a little harder. If you know you've been slacking, get up and get to work. You know what you need to do. I know when I've been being lazy in my business, and it shows. But I know when I've been being productive in my business also. That shows as well. So again, by all means, let's make sure that we're operating in integrity as we do our tax returns, because none of us want to go to jail. Okay. And like I said, I know I'm not. But in that, the way that you're able to do that, business owners, is making sure you're getting your books and you're reconciling them monthly. That's no exception, at minimum monthly, reconciling those books. Okay. Let's talk about the PPP Ex Deadline. That has been extended. March 31st was the original deadline. It has been now been moved to May 31st. So now you have until May 31st to apply for PPP funds. Again, I'm running into, because I'm doing PPP loans as well, I'm running into some cases where there's just some weird things happening with some of the banks. They don't seem to have full clarity. So there's some that still, for the business owners, still trying to take line 31 instead of line 7. Line 31 shows your net profit or your net loss. Line 7 shows your gross, your total sales. And some of their systems still aren't up. So we're having to kind of go through and find these lenders that work for that client. I've had a couple of PPP loans get funded in the last few days or a couple of weeks here, and it's hit or miss. It really is. It really is hit or miss. Know that we're working diligently. It's not that we've forgotten about it, but we also have a waiting period as well. So we're waiting on the banks as well to respond to us, be it with documents, be it with a response as to whether you're approved or not. And there's some that, and I've run into one in particular that I probably will not submit anybody else through them. A lot of people have had a lot of success through this particular bank, but I probably won't, because there's been 2 or 3 occasions where I submitted answers that I know when they sent the denial through immediately, that wasn't even the answer I selected. So I don't know what they have going on with that. The only thing that I could do is continue to work on behalf of the client to get your PPP applications in. Again, you can't submit 2 at the same time. You can do the applications, but only one can actually be submitted to the SBA at a time. So it's kind of like hurry up and wait on things. But now we have until the 31st. So that's a good thing to hear. All right, I have said a mouthful. Does anyone have any tax questions? Any tax questions? Any tax questions? All right, again, we are going on a tax tour to serve the underserved and those that are homeless and those that are in shelters. I know, hey, Ty, we got a baby. So one of my clients, y'all, had a baby today. I'm excited. Well, actually, 2 of my clients, 3. Well, the family. It's an whole family. Congratulations, Ty. I was in prayer for y'all this morning and covering you guys. Yes. So yes, my clients have a pray and prepare, also a praying and accountant. Absolutely. I cover my business as well as my clients' businesses, and I am super excited. Yeah, y'all. So let me tell you, I was stalking her page because I was like, she's been kind of quiet, and typically I'll kind of see her, moving and shaking, because she has a phenomenal business, Clean by Design. It's here in South Carolina. And yes, and I had been kind of stalking because I didn't want to bother them, right? So I'm looking. Finally, I inboxed her yesterday. I was like, look, y'all been quiet. Is there a baby? Do we have a baby? And she came today. So congratulations again to you guys. But again, for anyone, we will be doing this tour that we have. I don't know exactly how many cities it is that's covered in this effort to make sure that we get this out. But again, we'll be running this through the summer to make sure they're getting their stimulus payments, and some may run it longer. Each person's state that's listed, you would contact not Irene, Credit Queen, Irene. You won't contact her. You will contact the person in your state. Again, tax professionals, if you want to partner with us, reach out to someone so we can get you connected and get you plugged in your state or your city, so that we can, help you navigate through this process of what we're doing to for these efforts. I am so excited because this season, honestly, guys, it's been kind of up and down. It's been discouraging at some points, especially when you have clients who are trying to do things. And yeah, the stimulus payment was a blessing. It was something we didn't have. But when they have a much larger refund that's held up and they have things that they need to take care of, it's a little disheartening, and we have no direction from the IRS. So that's what makes it worse. The fact that when we get on the lines, typically we can call the preparer lines and get in and out. That hasn't even been happening. So it's a bit discouraging for us as professionals. And, I understand the frustration of the taxpayers. But again, just bear with us, and we will make sure that, we extend grace as you do as well, in trying to navigate through whatever is going on with the IRS. As we hear news, we will get you updated on that news. I actually have a new admin on my team, and she's doing a phenomenal job with helping me try to get this stuff out a little bit quicker to you guys, especially when we're in the trenches and we're working. It makes it hard to do both. And then, of course, I have my preparer as well, but it just depends on the volume of work that's in at the time and everything else that I have going on, because I don't only offer tax preparation services. So the other thing that I wanted to discuss with you guys too, that just came back to my mind, business formation. Everybody is not an S corp, so please do not let anybody tell you going in, oh, you need to be an S corp, and make you sign up for that status, and then you don't meet the credentials and you lose it, or now you're required to have a different type of tax return process. The tax deadline for businesses is different than that for individuals. Okay, that's one thing. Those returns are also a little costlier, as well as the fact that your books have to be in order. Like, you can't, it's no workaround. LLCs and sole proprietors, you have a little bit of a workaround. As I say, listen, okay, I be trying to hit it, Jasmine. I'm telling you, because, and that's where my tax topics come from. It comes from what's happening every day, what I see happening with my peers in my, my sisters and brothers in craft, things like what we're talking about. I want you guys to kind of have a behind the scenes. These are things that are truly out there. There's problems that we're having. And again, I want you to have total transparency with me. I'm not going to hide or pretend or blame the taxpayer or anything like that. It is what it is. If it falls on me, y'all know I'm gonna own up to it and say, oh, my bad. I gave, I whatever. I'm gonna own it. If it's on behalf of the IRS or the taxpayer, and it's things that you guys have to do. There's things that you have to do. If you don't feel like you have a competent individual helping you navigate through that process, find another one. Interview these people. These people are handling your finances. They're putting you in situations that you're going to end up with thousands of dollars in a tax debt that may or may not be able to get abated. But it's still your responsibility. At the end of the day, you guys sign on the line. It's your responsibility. And a lot of times the IRS, depending on how bad they need their money, they could care less that somebody put you, informed you in a business. And I'm going to tell you this, and not to slight anyone. Just because someone has a designation, certain letters behind their name, just because they are popular on social media, it does not mean that they are the best person for your job. There's people that I am not a good fit for. And that's just, it is what it is. Make sure you're interviewing these people that are going to be partnering with you in your business to help you stay abreast of these tax laws. They're not going to have you missing deadlines and causing you penalties. The tax extension, also keep in mind, that is for you to file. That is not for you to pay. It's a difference. Okay. However, the failure to file penalty is high. It's 4.5% of your balance due. Okay. So keep that in mind as well. Make sure you have people that's going to keep you abreast of these things. Am I perfect? Absolutely not. Is it possible that I may miss something? Possible. I try to, if I miss something on Tax Talk Tuesday, or if it's something that I didn't send out in a blast, I try to have it listed on my social media so that you guys can be updated. Hello, my son. But I try to actually have you updated on social media. So there's several ways that you can get updates from me and my company. And there's also newsletters that go out. If you're not on my mailing list and you want to get on my mailing list, the link is on for IG. You'll have to hit the link in my bio and go to my website, sign up for my mailing list. Those who are on Facebook and YouTube, it's on here as well, right below. But if right now, www.bbs3llc.info, and sign up for the newsletter. And there's a lot of good learning tools that's in there, a lot of good information, blogs and things of that nature that's on my page. So by all means, join, sign up. Knowledge is key. You know what they say, if you want somebody to not get the information, write it down. Or you want to, hide $1 million, write it down, because people typically don't read. However, I do try to have an oral version of it so that you guys are at least getting updated. Again, if it's if I get too busy, I can't do Tax Talk Tuesday. I want to, and I'll be wanting to pre-record sometimes when I do have a moment, but then I'm like, okay, but then it's not live. So you guys tell me what you think. If I can't make it, will a pre-recorded version work out for you? Or do you want me to just resume on another day? Let me know, chime in. I want to make sure that I'm serving you to the best of my ability. No, everyone on here is not my client. Everybody is not my client, if that makes sense to you. If you know, you know. But but I want to be able to serve everyone at least with the information, even if you're not in a position to be my client per se. I want to make sure that I'm educating and empowering you to make decisions that you need to make as it pertains to your business, and making sure that you have the right professional for you. I'm not a good fit for everybody. There's other professionals that's not a good fit for everybody. And the sooner I think we realize that, the better we'll be able to navigate these processes that we have, or things that we're trying to do as we want to grow and thrive in our businesses. Okay. All right, guys. So I am going to wrap it up. I don't see any questions or anything that anyone has. But again, if you need to reach out, by all means, slide in my DM if you choose to, and ask your question. If it's a topic that you want me to touch on, let me know. I'll be more than happy to pull up the data or the information for that and present it in a live session. I appreciate you. Share this live. I guess I should have said that in the beginning, but share this live. There's somebody else that needs the same information that you're getting. Share, 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 share. I don't say that often enough, but I do, because I'm not trying to be social media popular. What I want to make sure is that people are educated and they're empowered. All right. Well, if it's nothing else, again, you can reach me at bbs3llc.info. I am on IG, The Transparent Accountant. Tawana Bryan Osborne, MBA, on all other social media platforms. All right, guys, you all have a phenomenal night, and I will see you next week. Oh, if you don't have a touchscreen.